Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time or you have not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so now. Thank you very much. Also, hit that thumbs up button for me. That will allow you to spread this video and my channel to more people. And I really would appreciate that as well. Today we're going to be talking about real estate investing. Now, I made a video a couple of weeks ago titled How I Turned $3,500 into $1.4 million in real estate. And because of that video, people had some additional questions about the details. And the purpose of it was to talk people through how I use leverage in order to be able to build my real estate portfolio. This particular example that I'm going to go through today is one property, and I want to go through all the details with you guys so you understand exactly how I built my real estate portfolio. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, this particular illustration right here is for a $350,000 house. Now, in order for me to buy this $350,000 house, I'm going to need to get a loan. And normally with real estate, especially investment real estate, you're going to have to put 20% down. So in this particular situation, that 20% represents $70,000 that I would have to come up with and put down on this property, which would then leave me with a $280,000 loan. Now we'll get back to this side here in a minute. Now this $350,000 house, where did I come up with that at? Well, I live in Southwest Florida, and this is the type of property I would purchase. It's a single family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with about 2,200 square feet. Now it's going to be a newer home because that's normally what I buy. I buy either brand new or slightly pre-owned, and I'll tell you why in a second. Now on this side right here, this represents the income and the expenses. In this particular situation, I plan to get $2,700 per month in rental income. And again, where do I get that number from? Well, in Southwest Florida, for a 3-2, 2,200 square foot home in this price range, in a great location with good population growth, I can demand $2,700 in rents. Now, the most important thing for me when I'm looking for single family homes is location. I need to be able to buy a property in an area that people desire to live in. And that will get me to this situation down here with the capital appreciation in a second. So let's get back to these rents. So I'm going to get $2,700 a month for 12 months. So I'll have gross rents in 1 year of $32,400. Then I have to take out my expenses. Now in Southwest Florida where I live, you have two big expenses when it comes to single family rental properties. The first one is your real estate taxes. Based on this purchase price, I know my real estate taxes are going to be about $4,000 a year. My homeowner's insurance is going to be about $1.5K a year, which is $1,500. And then I'm going to have to set aside $1,200 for M&R, which is maintenance and repair. Now, I know some of you guys are saying, look, $1,200 a year for maintenance and repair, that sounds quite low. Well, let me walk you through that real quick. Back to what I said earlier when I was talking about this $350,000 house. I do not buy houses that are 10, 15, 20 years old. The houses that I buy, they're going to be brand new or they're going to be slightly pre-owned, no more than 3 to 4 years old. So there shouldn't be any major maintenance or repair issues associated with that house, with the exception of your normal routine stuff like a leak in one of the faucets or one of the bathrooms. You may have to fix a garbage disposal or something of that nature. Maybe a washer and a dryer. You may have to have someone go out and take a look at that. But you shouldn't have any major expenses when you buy this property. At least in my experience over the last 20 years, I've not had any major issues buying properties that are either new or slightly pre-owned. So that's where I get the $1,200 for it. So your total expenses are $6,200. Your net income, which is nothing more than the difference between your gross rents and your gross expenses, gives you your net income on this one property per year of $25,700. But it doesn't stop there. We have to still take in consideration the mortgage. So that's where I go back over here to this side. And as you can see, I'm gonna have a 30-year fixed mortgage. I don't take out any loans when it comes to real estate, single family homes, if it doesn't have a 30-year fixed mortgage. That's what I go after, and that's what I normally get. I'm gonna have an interest rate of 3.5%, and that's gonna be fixed for the 30 years. And my monthly payment is gonna be $1,257 per month. When I times that by 12, it's going to give me $15,000 per year in mortgage cost. So I subtract that from my $25,700. That's going to give me left over, after everything's paid, $10,700. So in 1 year, I'm going to make $10,700 on this single property. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say, well, what about the depreciation? Hear me out. I'm not a CPA. Obviously, there are some strategies you can use from a tax standpoint to reduce paying taxes on this $10,700. Talk with your CPA about that. Figure out what the right strategy is for you. In my situation, that's what I did. So I'm not concerned about that. All the depreciation is going to do is reduce my tax liability even further. So I'm good there. But this right here, these expenses are representative of what I can do here in Southwest Florida. Where you live, it may be different. You may have more expenses. Obviously, your purchase price may be higher depending upon where you live in the country. Your rents may be higher, they may be lower, depending upon where you live in the country. But where I live in Southwest Florida, this is what I'm used to having as it relates to gross rents, expenses, and net income. Now let's move over to what type of investment return I got for this single year on this property. Now my cash on cash return, this is how I would compute that. I made $10,700 on the property for that year. That was my profit. I would take my $70,000 initial investment, which was my 20% down, this equals $70K. I would take the 10.7 divided by the 70,000, and I would get a 15% cash on cash return for that particular property in that particular year. That's awesome. Now, my hold pattern on these types of properties is 5 years. So if I do the math on the 10.7 over 5 years, I'm going to make over $50,000 in profit just on cash flow. Now, again, I know some of you will say, well, that's in a perfect world. You're absolutely right. There may be issues with you losing a tenant. There may be issues where, like in South Florida, we have hurricanes. So there may be a situation where the property is down for a period of time due to a hurricane. The good news is that's where my insurance will come in. I get rental property insurance. So if we do have a natural disaster and it shuts my property down and my tenant has to move out, I get paid by the insurance company for that. Also, the way I reduce not getting paid by a tenant is I pre-screen on my tenants. Before I have anybody move into my properties, I'm going to do a background check, I'm going to do a credit check, and I'm also going to do a employment or a financial history check. Because everybody doesn't have a job. Some people are set with their life, they're retired, they get income from different sources, so they don't necessarily have an income, some of them, but they still should be able to provide you financial statements showing you the strength and that they have money to be able to pay your rent each month. Also, with that pre-screening, it just gives you a higher quality tenant. Also, location, in my opinion, is what drives up capital appreciation. Buy the location first and then buy the property. So let's move over to capital appreciation so that you guys can see how I compute my capital appreciation. Now with my properties, guys, I hold my properties for at least 5 years, 3 to 5 years. And in that 5 years on this particular situation, I believe I can get 4% appreciation per year. Again, that's in Southwest Florida where I live. That's typical appreciation for this particular type of home in the location where I'm buying it at. So 4% a year appreciation times 5 years. At the end of my 5 years, I can assume I'm going to get 20% appreciation. What I typically will do is my purchase price was $350, right? So if I get 20% appreciation on that $350, that means the value of that property in 5 years should be $420,000, which is right down here. Minus out what I paid for the property, which is $350, I hit $70K. So that's my appreciation over the last 5 years, plus my cash on cash return of $50K. That's a potential $120,000 worth of appreciation on this property. That's a pretty daggone good return. I put 70 in and I get basically 190 back, which is a pretty good return on my $70,000 investment. Now, I know some of you will say, well, hey, you're going to have to pay real estate fees. You're going to have to pay all these selling fees. Well, let's think about it. If you sell a house for $420,000 here in Florida, or at least Southwest Florida, you can pay up to 6% in realtor commissions. So yeah, you would minus that out. Say you minus out that $25K in realtor expenses, that leaves you with $45. So that's one scenario. Well, you could also do a scenario like this where you could get your real estate license and you won't have to pay that full 6%. You can pay 3% to the buyer real estate agent. And that can reduce that $25,000 to around $12,500. But you could also do like I've done on several of my properties where I sold the property to my tenant. They loved the community and they bought the property from me. I did not have to have any selling fees associated with that. I basically made an agreement with my tenant. In the state of Florida, we use title companies for the most part. We went to the title company, we drew up a contract, and that was it. My tenant went out and found their loan and they purchased the house. I had no selling costs. So yeah, you could have some selling costs, but in my case, I'm gonna maneuver around that because my goal is to have a quality tenant in there. And over the next 3 to 5 years, they'll fall in love with the community and they'll buy the house from me, which in turn, I won't have any selling costs. So let's recap. $120,000 profit. Of course, you may have to pay some capital gain on that. Get with your CPA, figure out a strategy to reduce that tax liability. That's what I do. So I don't pay taxes on the full $120K. You reduce that tax liability by doing some various things. Get with the CPA and they will put a strategy in place for you that works for you that can reduce that tax liability. So 120 in profit. And here's the way you continue to build and increase wealth. The way you do that is you duplicate this process. That's what I did. I just continued to duplicate that process. And I did it for a number of years. You duplicate this process on 5 properties. And guess what? You got $600,000 in appreciation or net worth growth or cash that you could potentially put into other investments. You can earn income off of it, or you could keep your 5 properties and continue receiving cash flow and continuing to allow them to appreciate in value at some other point in the future. So that's the way, guys, you create wealth one house at a time in real estate. I have been doing this for over 25 years, and it has served me well. And I will tell you, if you're interested in doing that, I have a company called RF Financial Consulting, where I help individuals put plans like this together and strategize and map out a road roadmap using real estate, using stocks, using a business, using additional streams of income in order to help and assist them meet and exceed all of their financial goals. If you're interested in that, DM me on Instagram at RichardFain28, or in the description box of this video, you'll see the email address in there for RF Financial Consulting. Well, all right, guys, I hope this video was helpful, gave you some more details that you guys had been asking for from the video I did 2 weeks ago, how I invested $3,500 and made 1.4 mil. So again, guys, drop me some comments. Let me know what you think. I'd be more than happy to try to answer your questions if I can. And thank you for stopping by. If you're stopping by for the first time, please consider subscribing, share the video, smash that like button for me. Thoughts become things. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness and never stop believing in yourself. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.